3, 4. Hey everyone, this is Brian from ActiveMelody.com. Well, in this week's guitar lesson, we're going to take a look at an original composition. This is an acoustic blues that's played with no accompaniment. So you don't need a jam track, you don't need another musician. All you need is a guitar and a pick and you're good to go. And this works with an acoustic or an electric guitar. And if you like this style of lesson, I've got lots of other no accompaniment style lessons over at Active Melody, so go check those out. One other thing to point out, this is a 12-bar blues in the key of E, but it's not your typical 1-4-5 chord progression. This is a 1-4-6, so there's actually a minor 6 chord thrown in. And I'll explain all of that as we get into the lesson. So I've split this into 2 videos. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the first half, but if you would like to watch the second half as well as download the tablature, you're going to want to go to ActiveMelody.com and look for EP111. So let's go ahead and get started with part 1. Alright, so I did switch guitars. I'm using this guitar because I've got the fret markers on here, and it makes it a little easier to follow along. Now this is in the key of E, and it's in standard tuning. So I did want to just mention, if this looks too intimidating, if you saw the intro and you thought, man, there's no way I can do it, try and hang with me on this, because you'll find that there's a lot of repetitive licks, which makes it easy, because you can learn one part and keep using it over and over again. But you can also set the tempo. So if you wanted to play this slower, that's fine. This kind of blues would be great slow. You can, put whatever groove on it that you want. So I think you'll be able to do most, if not all, of this. Even if you're fairly new to playing, like if you're a brand new beginner, you just got a guitar, this might be difficult. But for most of you, I think you'll be able to do this. Okay. So we're in the key of E, so the first thing we're going to do is make an E chord here with the left hand, and you can see that I'm making an E chord. I'm going to assume you know how to make that. If not, you can just pause the screen and see where my fingers are. But the first thing that we're going to do, the first little part sounds like this. That's the first thing we're going to learn. So let's start that with, so we make the E chord to start, and we're going to start by playing the open 6th string, or the open E string, with a downstroke, the right hand. And by the way, I'm going to be going back and forth between my left hand and right hand, explaining what each of them do. So left hand, E chord, right hand, downstroke on the 6th string. And then we're going to play strings 4, 3, 2, and even 1, the top strings of the E chord. And then we're going to mute with our right hand. So we're going to go. So when we put those two parts together, it sounds like this. Pretty easy. I think you can do that. Now, this is where we switch our left hand and we come up and play this. And what I'm doing is I'm playing the 3rd fret 2nd string with my pointer finger, and then I'm playing the 4th fret 3rd string with my middle finger. And we're playing strumming strings 3, 2, and that open E string on the 1 string. So it's like this. So now, if for those of you going, hey, where did this come from? This is part of the E minor pentatonic scale. This is pattern 2, and all of that's covered in the blues lead course. So if you haven't checked that out, please do so. But so pattern 2, the blues lead course, by the way, is at ActiveMelody.com if you're seeing this on YouTube. But anyway, pattern 2 is here. So pattern 1, E minor pentatonic, would be here. Right? So your root fret would be your nut. Pattern 2 would be here. So when we're playing this, that's where that comes from. Just wanted to put it in context. Okay, so backing up. That's what we have so far, right? And then watch this. We're going to do two upstrokes with the right hand. It's an upstroke and a mute. Upstroke and a mute. Watch my right hand as I play them. So you can see I do the upstroke, mute the strings with the right hand. The left hand just kind of stays in place. Okay, so let's put it together. So we have, and that's the timing of it. A little bit of a shuffle to it. Now watch this. Now what I'm doing there is I'm kind of going back and forth between playing an A chord and then taking my fingers off the fretboard. So it starts with an upstroke with the right hand, and we're playing strings 3 and 4. Those middle 2 strings there. And if you happen to hit string 5 or hit string 2, that's okay. This is okay to be a little bit sloppy on this, but try and get string 3 and 4. And then watch this. There's the upstroke. So then we bar the first 4 strings on the 2nd fret with our pointer finger. Again, you're trying to hit strings 3 and 4. Although if you hit 5, 4, 3, and 2, it's all part of that A chord, so that'll work. But I'm trying to be as accurate as possible for that part. There's an upstroke on string 3, which is an open string, the G string. So we have, and then we come down to string 4 on the 2nd fret. That's played with a downstroke, and then an upstroke on string 4 open, or the open D string. So here's what that looks like, that little part. And you may want to just practice doing that over and over again. Do it slow. Try and get accurate. See, I'll hit, miss strings from time to time. But that's what you're trying to do. So when you put the parts together now, what we have, we'll do it slowly. We have, now we repeat. See, isn't that a cool little groove? And it sounds good slow, or it sounds good real fast. This also sounds great on an electric guitar with a little bit of overdrive. So just something else to think about. Okay, so the next part, so we're going to do that, let's see, we do that. Okay, the second time through, I changed it up a little bit. I went. So I just played the A chord, and I did an upstroke there on strings, let's see, 3, 4, and 5. And so the first time through, here's the second time through. So it's just up. So you can see that all 3 of those were upstrokes from here. Up, up, up. So it's up, open. I'm just grabbing strings 3, 4, and 5. And then up again. And the reason I'm doing upstrokes there is because the rhythm of my hand needs to stay in this motion the whole time. It never needs to really break. If you watch, see how the hand just keeps going? But essentially your wrist becomes very fluid like that. And it almost has kind of a lazy feel, this kind of thing. This is sort of has a shuffle, so it's not robotic like this. It's lazy. Now we're going to repeat it. Alright, so then you come to the A part, which goes. So you can see there's some repetition there. We're going to play a line, we're going to repeat it. But it starts like this. So I start by barring the first 4 strings with my left hand here, pointer finger rather, on the 2nd fret. And then the only reason I'm doing that is because just naturally you're playing an A chord, and so it just feels natural for me to go ahead and make that A, so that if I miss a note, I'm still covered by fretting that. But so what we're going to do is we're going to play, this is alternate picking, meaning down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up with the right hand. So that makes it easy. It takes the guesswork out. You can see what my right hand's doing. It's just down. It starts with a downstroke. Okay, so after you bar this, we're going to start there on the 5th string. We're going to play 2 of those. Down, up, and then I take my middle finger and go down on the 3rd fret 5th string. Ring finger on the 4th fret 5th string. So let's back it up. We have. Now we're up to the 4th string, which is still part of that bar of the A. Now we're going to come, I use my ring finger for this. I keep the bar down the whole time, but I put my ring finger down on the 4th fret, 4th string rather. Take the finger off so that your bar is still there. So. And then I come up and play the 5th fret, 4th string. And I use my pinky for that. But I keep the bar down the whole time for that. And the reason for keeping that bar, like I said, is you can miss some notes. You don't have to be, even though you're trying to be precise in this, if you do miss a note, you're covered. This is all part of that A chord. Okay? Now after I came up here and played this note, I went, kind of did this, something like a bass player might do, but it's done with 2 upstrokes. And I start, it's on the 3rd, I use my middle finger on the 3rd fret 6th string. That's an upstroke. My ring finger goes down on the 4th fret 6th string. So it's a G note, a G sharp, and then we're right back to that same little riff. Alright, so let's put the 2 parts together and go through it. So here's what it'll sound like. Notice those 2 upstrokes. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. So that when I'm saying up, up, those are the upstrokes. Up, up, up. And just practice that. That little run right there would be a great one to just set a metronome to and try and adjust your hand here, your right hand. Is it easier to pick it this way versus pick it this way? Change the angle. You have all this pivot that can happen with your wrist. And I find that sometimes if I'm not playing accurately, if I'm trying to do something that requires some speed on a single string, just by pivoting my hand to find the right angle that works for me, it'll all of a sudden it just kind of clicks, and you go, that feels so much better. And so just remember that if you're having a hard time trying to get the speed. And that's how I ended it there. I just took my pinky and came down to the 4th fret on the 4th string, and I played strings 4 and 5. So it's just down, or it's just up, up, and it's strings 4 and 5. Okay, and then we're right back to the E. Okay, now at this point, I go to a C sharp minor 7 chord. Let me show you how to make that. I bar the 4th fret, the entire 4th fret, and then I put it's like a C minor chord, but you just take your pinky off, if that helps. But basically my middle finger goes down on the 5th fret 2nd string, and my ring finger goes down on the 6th fret 4th string. we're going to play strings 5, 4, 3, 2, and even 1. Okay, so that's the C sharp minor 7th chord. Now, I played that instead of playing, now typically in a 12-bar blues you'd hear a B7. But instead of playing that B7th, I played this. So I went to the 6th chord. So instead of 1, 4, 5 progression, it's more of a 1, 6, 5. So I'm using the 6th chord, which is a minor chord. And that's part of, there's a little bit of music theory there, but I don't want to get into that for this. But I can do that for those of you that are interested. Just leave a comment because that you can leave it on YouTube or on Active Melody. That'll help me understand the interest. But anyway, what happened after the minor chord is I played this little run that goes. And what's interesting about that run is that's played in the, technically that's played in C sharp minor pentatonic scale. Because it sounds kind of minor. You can tell it has kind of a sad feel. But check this out. That same run, if I contrast it against an E chord or an E major chord, watch this. See how it has a happy sound, but the same notes work? Isn't that interesting? Or the C sharp minor, watch this. So the point I'm trying to stress here is E major has a relative minor chord. All major chords have a relative minor chord. And so C sharp minor, or C sharp rather, is the relative minor chord to E. And so you can, what that means is you can take that E major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, in the key of E. And if you're playing that exact same scale, but the chord is C sharp minor in this case, that same scale that worked for E major is actually kind of a minor, sad sounding scale. So anyway, that's where this whole scale comes from. That's actually played in E major. That's an E major pentatonic scale, or a C sharp minor. It's the same scale. So anyway, if you'd like to know more about that, I'd love to do a lesson or even a little mini series on kind of theory for guitar. I just never know how much people already know, or if that's even of interest. But here are the notes. So we're gonna go after we make the C sharp minor 7. I'm gonna put my pointer finger down on the 4th fret, 2nd string, and do a hammer-on between the 4th fret and 5th fret, 2nd string. There's your hammer-on. We're back to the 4th fret. And then we're going to do these two notes. So that's the 6th string, or sorry, the 6th fret, 3rd string, 4th fret, 3rd string. So you watch the picking with the right hand. Now watch this. So as soon as I did that, then I came down to the 4th string on the 6th fret, and when I played it, I slid right down to the 4th fret as soon as I picked it. Down to the 2nd fret, and then down to the 5th string on the 4th fret. Now, if you're wondering where we're at, what scale, remember this is the E major pentatonic scale, major, and it's the pattern 4. So when you think of patterns, this would be pattern 4. How do you find the major pentatonic scale? You start with the minor pentatonic scale, which you know, that's the one where you got your root fret and all that. The major pentatonic scale is 1, 2, 3 frets down from whatever pattern you're on. So this would be pattern 4 of the E major pentatonic scale. So those are your notes. And then the way I concluded it was I came back to the 4th string and I started here on the 2nd fret, and I just did a hammer on to the 4th fret. So and a fun little exercise for you would be just to play that same run using the C sharp minor 7 or just C minor, either one. They're fairly close. Play that run and then play it over an E chord. Just so your ear can start to hear. It's the same scale, but depending on the chord I use, it totally changes the context, which is I just find that fascinating. Okay, so and then after that I came back to the A. So for the A, this is just a 12-bar blues shuffle thing, so I'm just playing strings 5 and 4. So you can see what I'm doing. Playing 5 and 4. It's a down up. Then I put my pinky down on the 4th fret, 4th string. Slide it up to the 5th fret, 4th string. Back to the 4th fret, 4th string. And then take it off. So now watch this. And what I'm doing there is I'm just playing a power chord, just a G power chord. I didn't want to make a full G chord, and I didn't want to make a G like this because there would be too many open strings. So I just made a G power chord. Pointer finger on the 3rd fret, 6th string, pinkies on the 5th fret, 5th string, and I just did a series of upstrokes. So that I can come right back to that E, that open 6th string, which gets us back to the repetitive part of that. Okay, so let's take it from let's take it from the A. You know what? Let me back up and play everything up to that point. I'll play through it slowly. C sharp minor. Now we're back. And that's really it. That's the whole, it's that whole first half. Now the second half goes into this, just to mix it up a little bit. And I wanted to do something that sounded kind of like you're playing slide without actually playing slide. So it's my attempt at it anyway. So okay, so those are all the notes. And by the way, if I talk too much, I get feedback that, like on YouTube, people say, "Man, you talk too much." I feel like I have to because there's a lot of stuff on here. If you don't like the talking, if you just want to get cut to the chase, I do have a slow walkthrough video for all of these lessons at activemelody.com. So just go there, and you'll see that on each lesson page that there's a slow walkthrough. That's me playing through the whole thing slowly without saying a word. So that's my workaround. For those of you that are a little more advanced and you don't need all that, you just want to, you want the cliff notes. I've got that version as well. Okay, so I will see you in part 2.